Okay, so before we end the progress, I'm going to kind of go into creating the second level. You can see it here. It has that kind of kick out for kind of other parts of the building that that we're not going to address in your project, but would be continuous parts of the development. And then the floor that is, I think, roughly this should be the ceiling actually in your project. And then there's a mezzanine that we won't be building because you'll be designing it. All right, so let's do that. It's a little bit different. Well, I should go to not that project, but this one. Okay, so if we go to our views and we go to level 2, I think what you guys will be seeing I'm a little surprised actually I'm seeing anything because typically I would say that you won't see the lower level. So I'm not sure. I think maybe because I have this range base level was to 1. But if you don't see anything except for maybe the trees that you planted, that's okay. There's a couple ways we can handle that. We can change the range base level to level 1, and then it'll show you what's below. Or you can do what's called the view range. And in this, you can see that you have a certain setup for exactly how far it goes below. So you can set that to unlimited, or you can go with whatever level below. So if I did level below and I was on level 3, then I would be looking down on level 2. And if I'm on level 2, I'll be looking down on level 1, so on and so forth. So that's just kind of, you'll find that if you change one of these, bottom or view depth level, you have to change them both. So if I just did that one and apply it, it's going to give me this error. And the reason for that is I have to get this one to be associated at least that far below. So anyway, those are the 2 ways that you can start to see what's below you. And so all you're going to do at this point would be I want you to use architectural floor, and then I think we're going to use the structural one, see what we have here. So I want this 3-inch lightweight concrete on 2-inch metal deck. Okay, and you'll draw it according to the dimensions shown in the project or in the supplements. So I'm just going to kind of simulate, that. So. Okay, and then once you're done drawing, you'll say okay. Now there is one last trick that I want to talk about, is that the way that you have your structure at the moment, so if we hide that, you can see that you have your structure running this way. So when we're talking about a type of floor concrete that has the actual decking, you can see that kind of decking, the corrugation that goes up and down. That decking is made to be rigid, and the direction right now it's rigid as if it's extruded into the screen, right, for this section. So if you've got, say, joists that are running like this downward, you would want that ridging to be extruded in this direction. Okay, so that it's essentially between each deck. So if I was to just draw some some detail lines. So if that represented, you know, my structure, I would want the decking to kind of span between these. So it's rigid in only one direction. So, you know, this stuff is rigid in only one direction. So why do I bring that up? All right, well, let's take a look at a section through this. So I'm going to go to view. I'm going to draw a section this way, and we're going to see kind of what I've already kind of created here. So, all right, and I'm going to go to Fine, and I'm going to see that in fact it happens to be running exactly in the direction that I wanted. So let's just go back to level 2 and just kind of think about this. So I am cutting through here. I want it to span, you know, between each of these joists. So I should, in this view, I should see the corrugation. Now if I drew a section in the other view, I wouldn't necessarily see it. And then we'll go make sure this is on fine. And what you see here is you see multiple lines. So essentially it's just kind of showing me the bottom of the corrugation, the top of the corrugation, the top of the concrete, and the bottom of the concrete and the top of the concrete. Okay, so that's actually created the way I want it to be. Now, what if it wasn't? And I think that's the kind of key here, right? So if it wasn't, what I'm going to do here is when I edit the boundary, you can see that this line right here, that is representing the direction that it's going to define the profile perpendicular to that line. That's where it's going to define the profile. So if I wanted to change it, and I had structure that's running this way and the corrugation wants to run opposite of that or perpendicular to that, then all I would do is change the span direction to this. And you can see now it has the two lines there, and suddenly I've basically changed the way that this is going to get drawn. So when I go into section 1, suddenly I only see the long continuous lines. Go to section 2, then I see it there. Alright, I know there's a lot for basically very little work that you're doing, but it's really important that when you do cut your sections, that this corrugation is rendered in the correct way. Otherwise you kind of look like a fool, because it's really basic kind of structure 101 to know that that corrugation needs to span between joists, and you need to have it in the right place. So if I just go back to the original project, and I go to, say, a transverse section, so this is really what you should, kind of finally see, is that kind of scenario on that transverse section. So, all right, I think that is it.